The Fallout series is one of the most recognizable and beloved franchises in gaming history. Originally created by Interplay Entertainment, Bethesda later picked up the mantle and propelled the series to new heights. Set in a post-apocalyptic world where exploration, moral choice, and survival intertwine, Fallout's universe has inspired generations of fans around the world. After the massive success of Fallout 3, Bethesda released Fallout 4, a sleek, modern evolution that brought the series to a new generation. With its refined gameplay, expansive open world, and updated visuals, it was a commercial hit, but some fans felt that it lost a part of what made the original Fallout game so special: the deep RPG mechanics, reactive storytelling, and meaningful decision making that defined the series' early days. Fallout 2 in particular was a standout entry, a masterclass in writing, player freedom, and consequence-driven design. Every choice mattered, every dialogue path could alter your fate, and your character truly felt like your own. Unfortunately, due to its dated visuals, its overhead camera angle, and technical limitations, many modern players never got the chance to experience that incredible story firsthand. Well, that might be about to change, thanks to an upcoming Fallout 2 remake, a fan-made mod project. The classic is being rebuilt entirely within the Fallout 4 engine. Much like Fallout London or Skyblivion, this ambitious remake aims to blend the best of both worlds: the depth, role-playing, and atmosphere of Fallout 2, combined with the modern visuals and gameplay of Fallout 4. I had the chance to sit down with Damion, the lead developer behind the Fallout 2 remake project, to talk about how the team is rebuilding this legendary game, from how they're translating its design into a modern engine, to the challenges of keeping the spirit of the original intact, and what fans can expect when it finally releases. So, without further ado, let's jump into the interview.
Okay, so the first question I have, can you introduce yourself and briefly explain your project for Fallout 2?
Yeah, I am the lead of Project Arroyo. We are remaking Fallout 2 within the Fallout 4 creation kit. It's a volunteer-based mod project. Everybody does it completely for free. They do it out of passion. They do it for, portfolio pieces to build it up. They do it for connections. And a lot of them just do it because they want to see Fallout 2 in a modern day engine. That's kind of the main reason I do it as well, to be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of like overhead isometric games. That's not really my favorite thing. So, but I really love a lot of the RPG elements of Fallout 2. So I was like, what if I could take the gameplay of Fallout 4 and mix it with the RPG elements of Fallout 2?
So it's going to be in the Fallout 4 engine. Obviously, the original one was top down. Can you sort of explain how you're doing this, right? Because obviously they're two different games, two different approaches. How have you managed to pull this off, so to speak?
We essentially try to start with the base of making it very similar to Fallout 2. So let's say we're making a level, for example. We will block out the area very similarly to how Fallout 2 blocked out the level. However, there will be some minor changes. Like I'll know immediately with certain areas. For example, the church at the den area in Fallout 2, I wanted more options to enter. Like if you have a stealth build, I wanted the player to be able to lockpick the door in the back and come in through the back. And then on the inside, there's like crates and stuff. So we laid out the crates in a way that the player could sneak in and hide behind the crates and like loot them while there's people inside. So essentially we create the base area with minor adjustments to make sure it fits Fallout 4's gameplay, which involves, it's first person, so it's completely different. Like the way the player moves is completely different. The cover, you need cover in a 3D game, you know what I mean? So that's completely different. And the speed at which the player moves is completely different. So you have to think of scale. And I would say the biggest difference between the two, level design wise, is the verticality. So Fallout 2, it's overhead, so there's not much verticality, right? It's just like kind of flat. Obviously, if you want to make it look interesting in a 3D engine, there has to be a lot of verticality. So we'll have stairs leading to second floors, and we might use second floors as like a second part of an area, whereas Fallout 2 would have had it as like one straight line. We'll have it like stack on top of each other to make it more interesting.
I think there was a lot of additional options, if I recall, in Fallout 2 in terms of like role playing, right? I think Fallout 4 is a little bit more stripped down on that. Have you guys accommodated for that? Have you added in extra things, or are you just trying to fit it into the Fallout 4?
Right. So I believe that great RPGs, my favorite RPGs are the RPGs where you have the most choice. So I love New Vegas. I love how many options there are for, role playing as certain characters. I love like Baldur's Gate 3. That's a great game. You can, pretty much like I did a playthrough with my friend recently where it's like a Justice League playthrough, where you play, I was like playing as Batman and stuff. So, and it worked surprisingly well somehow. And to me, that's kind of the experience I want to bring to Fallout 2. So in Fallout 2, we're thinking of, okay, what are the different character archetypes that the player would want to play as? Like, does somebody want to be like a frenzied tribal cannibal a character, So we have like cannibal weapons that are being made. And obviously, Fallout 4 has a cannibalism perk. So we're adding that in so you can do that. And yeah, we're retaining all of the aspects of Fallout 2. Like, yes, you can be a porn star. You can do pretty much everything that you could do in the original Fallout 2 role playing wise.
And then for combat, obviously the combat is totally,
Yeah.
totally different. How have you found that, making it action orientated?
So we obviously the NPCs. So the original is turn based. So you have to have different paths for the NPCs when they're walking around. And in shootout areas, like Fallout 2 has a lot of just plain open areas because it's turn based and they can do that. Like I said, we're adding a lot of like cover and stealth options for the player. Those are the main two priorities. And then obviously, if you want to do a melee build, you can just go in and make your character a tank. And we've taken some of Fallout 4's perks and implemented them into Fallout 2's leveling style. So we're going to have the classic RPG Fallout 2 like stat system. And some of the perks will be adjusted because they just need to, because some of the perks were made for the turn-based combat. But we're also taking a lot of Fallout 4's. Like, I like Fallout 4's Bloody Mess perk. Fallout 2 has Bloody Mess, but it's not, in my opinion, as good. So we're kind of mixing the two together in a way.
Obviously, it's a huge project. What made the team inspired to want to do this?
I didn't. The funny thing is, I didn't come on. I wasn't the lead of the project when it first started. I joined very early as like a level designer, and then I became the lead over time because the original lead had to like step down. But I think they were inspired because they just wanted something fun to do. At first they were just doing something for fun. They loved making Fallout 2. They loved the game itself, so they were like, this would be a cool thing to do. And then as it developed over time and more people joined, they became more and more inspired to go even bigger with it, and really put in more time. And as the lead, what inspired me is, like I said, I want to play a game that has like Fallout 4's gameplay with the level of choice of Fallout 2. And I also love Fallout 2's vibe. It has this tribal desert vibe, which we're really trying to recreate in the art direction and stuff. Like, we are actually retexturing and recoloring a lot of Fallout 2's assets so that it can fit the specific art direction of Fallout 2. And we have our own custom landscape textures, and we have a lot of custom models as well. But the reason why we're mixing it in with Fallout 4 is because Fallout 2 has a lot of repeating objects, which is kind of good for us in a way, because we don't have to make as many objects as like other remake teams would have to do. Like, for example, like if you're remake like Sky Oblivion, for example, they have to remake a lot. Like Oblivion, like it's insane the amount of objects they had to recreate and different assets. So for us, we don't have to recreate as many. We're adding a few new ones, like especially in San Francisco, like the Golden Gate Bridge and stuff. But you don't have to recreate as many. So we're doing a lot of recolors, retextures to fit that aesthetic, and it fits honestly pretty well.
If someone, obviously Fallout 2, it's a shame because it's a great role-playing game, but people who are younger, they look at it and they're like, no, too old.
Yeah.
If someone hasn't played Fallout 2 and they played this remake with the way it's standing, do you think they would get the feeling that they would have got from Fallout 2? Do you think they'll walk away knowing what Fallout 2 was, or will it be a completely new experience?
I think they will. We're trying, so it's a tightrope walk, but we are trying to stay as faithful as possible as you can while still keeping the gameplay working with this 3D engine. So I'm like Frank Horgan, you'll know who Frank Horgan is, trust me. Like he will be pretty close to how he was, if not like more intense in our version. Yeah, like we're gonna expand his boss battle in different ways that will fit the gameplay pretty well, I think. But you know, I think they will be able to understand the two because they are going to be very similar. Like even if we have to touch up like a line of dialogue, and the reason we would have to do that is, for example, like Hakunin in the intro is like you're talking to him and you ask him, oh, where's his garden? In our world, the garden, you can, because it's in first person, you can see it like right across, like right next to the tent, kinda. Whereas in Fallout 2, it's overhead, so he says you'll find it in the like northeast. Whereas our version is he like kind of makes fun of you and is like, it's like it's like right there, like right next to us. You should know where it is because you've lived here for so long. There's going to be minor adjustments like that, but we are keeping it pretty faithful to the original. So I think if a person plays this, especially with the music and the art direction and all of the villains and the dialogue, I think they will understand what the original Fallout 2 was. That is the goal for sure.
And if someone was to ask you, like, say they'd never played, say Fallout 4 is the only game they played, and
Yeah.
they said, okay, why not do Fallout 1? Why not do Fallout 3? What is it to you that makes Fallout 2 such a special game?
Yes. So I feel like Fallout 2, one, you can be really evil in Fallout 2, which I find fun because I don't know, I like doing evil playthroughs in games. You can be evil in Fallout 2, man. It's kind of crazy. We are going to keep probably a lot of the stuff in there. We'll just put a warning ahead of time being like, hey, you know, it was in the original game. We're trying to be faithful, but you can be very evil in it. And also I love the villains. I love Frank Horgan. I love the different characters. I love the companions that they have in the game. I think it is, like I said, it's completely unique to any other Fallout game where it also has the tribal feel. None of the other Fallout games have that like tribal feel in the music or like in the world, really. They just, not really. Like New Vegas has like the cons a little bit, but they don't really have the same vibe that Fallout 2 has. And Fallout 2, another thing I love about Fallout 2, even though it's overhead, I think it has some of the coolest locations in the franchise so far. I think like San Francisco, amazing. New Reno, amazing. Arroyo, amazing. Like it has so many amazing locations that recreating in 3D is going to look, it's going to elevate it even further. And yeah, that's the main reason I would say I wanted to remake Fallout 2 over, for example, like Fallout 1. And we do have some of Fallout 1's locations in there because they share some locations like Vault 13 and all that. Shady Sands pretty much. But they're like updated.
Just a quick question off script. You think it's the best Fallout game?
Oh no. Well, I think each of the Fallout games have their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So if I was to go through, this is gonna get me hate. So locking people. So New Vegas. New Vegas, I think, is honestly one of the best RPGs of all time. Like in terms of, when I say that, I mean in terms of choice and writing and role playing and dialogue. I think it's one of the best of all time in that way, and it's the best RPG in my opinion in the series because there's so much choice. And you start really from a blank slate. Even in Fallout 2, you don't necessarily start from a completely blank slate. You're still from this tribe. So it's not 100% like, oh, I get to make up who this character was and their past and all that. You still have to put it under the lens of like the tribal backstory. But I think like Fallout 4, I think by far has the best gameplay and has the best, in my opinion, level design, which is different from environment art. By level design, I mean like the layouts of the levels. Like I was walking around in Fallout 4 in the city doing a playthrough. You can like go from like, a lot of people don't know this, there's so many hidden locations. You could like climb up the side of a skyscraper, run up the side of a bridge, and then there's a door that enters and brings you into another skyscraper that is a whole level. Like I think that's like incredible level design. Fallout 3, in my opinion, has the best art direction by far and the best atmosphere. It has like the green tint and the like the scorched metal gray look. Yeah. And then Fallout 2, like I said, I think Fallout 2 has the best music. I think Fallout 2 has some of the best villains. I think Fallout 2 had all. I would say Fallout 2 has some of the best, like I said, some of the best locations, and I think it has some of the best art direction, in my opinion.
Is there any major changes that you've had to make? Is there anything that you guys said this just has to go?
Has to go. Ooh, interesting.
Or it has to be twisted completely or tweaked?
Well, there's a lot of like minor changes for sure, and then some level layouts just don't work at all. Like they just don't work, and a lot of the quests in Fallout 2, they work well in the turn-based format, but when we program them, like, so the way we start with the quest is we make it the original quest was, just as a base, just to see how it goes. And usually there's a lot of tweaking that needs to be done. A good example, for example, is like the Temple of Trials. So in the Temple of Trials, a lot of people don't like that intro tutorial in Fallout 2 for good reason, because it kind of forces you. Well, first of all, it's super easy to get lost in. But I think ours is a lot easier to not get lost in because it's a different perspective, so you can kind of figure out where you're going easier. But we also are adding like arranged character options. So Fallout 2 forces you to do like a melee build right off the bat, kinda, if you want to like make it through, because they don't give you a ranged weapon in the opening of the game. We are going to allow you to have like a bow and arrow. So if you put your points into your ranged skills, you will be able to use that bow and arrow to kill the rad scorpions and stuff in the Temple of Trials. But completely scrapped. Honestly, we're probably going to scrap some of the perks because they just don't work with Fallout 4 really. Like Fallout 4's gameplay system really. We'll see, but I doubt we're going to have a thing where you can have like a ton of companions at the same time, because that might just mess with Fallout 4 and not be able to work. But for the most part, we're retaining a lot of what the original game had, I'd say.
Will you be bringing the same voice acting files over, or is it being completely redone?
So unfortunately, we are not legally allowed to bring the same voice acting files over, so we have to get our own voice actors for every character. So what we're probably going to do is this, just so the mod comes out faster, and technically this is the lore accurate experience to Fallout 2. We're going to have all of the essential NPCs that would be a talking head in Fallout 2, because all of them have voice acting. The side characters in Fallout 2 or non-talking head NPC characters in Fallout 2 do not have voice acting. So what we're going to do is, for example, like if you have like an area where multiple characters are talking to each other, but they're not like talking heads, you will be able to hear their dialogue, because it doesn't make sense if they're like silent and all talking to each other. And we're going to give voice acting to all of the essential, like Hakunin, Frank Horrigan, the Village Elder, all of the talking heads. And when we first release, we're going to call it like a pre-alpha. We're going to release it kind of like in like the best comparison I can make is like Animal Crossing. They're like silent, but they make like a sound to react with their emotion, kind of. And you can see the text pop up. That's how it's going to be, so that the reason being is because when it first comes out in the pre-alpha is because I'm sure there will be like bugs when it first comes out. That's like inevitable. Not having the voices like solidified in stone right there allows us to add more things and fix it easier once we release the pre-alpha. And then down the line, the goal would be to eventually hopefully get voice acting for every single character in the game.
Just in regards to the dialogue, will it be word for word, or will there be a little bit of tweaking?
There will be minor changes, because some of the dialogue, you would think it works, but when it's, once again, the perspective changes everything. Like, you wouldn't think it does, but it really does. Like, when you are in the 3D world space, the dialogue, and you're seeing like a character in front of you, like face to face, saying a line. Like, I do short films, I write movies and stuff like that as well, and I do videography for freelance. That's what I do as a job. So I understand like how I have a good understanding of how actors are supposed to like portray themselves and how it's supposed to feel. It's a bit jarring sometimes, the dialogue, because some of it is just like very stiff and off. So what we're gonna do is one, we're probably going to add a little bit more dialogue options so you have more role playing. Two, we're gonna essentially have the character. They're all saying the same thing that they would have been saying before. We're just touching up the structure of the sentences so that when the voice actors do come in, it sounds completely natural. And when you're reading it in a 3D world space, it sounds completely natural. So there's a bit of dialogue tweaking here and there. And there's like some of the things in the game, like they have some plot holes here and there. So we're touching things like that up. But for the most part, we're keeping what they're saying and like the characters' beliefs and the characters' wants the same.
Are you bringing on any new weapons, armors, anything like that coming along?
We are. So we have the weapon attachment system from Fallout 4. Now, it's not going to be as extreme where it's like, oh, you can make a totally new weapon from this one weapon. It'll just be like, like there's a lot of different, like Call of Duty kind of, there's a lot of different types of attachments for one weapon. So, but we're going to have all of Fallout 2's weapons. Like I said, we did want it to, because we have in-between areas. In Fallout 2, you can like roam around the hub world and then there's like encounters in between. We have a similar thing, except we're doing like beefier like hub worlds, and there's just extra custom locations in between that hub world. So it's not like an encounter, it's you're seamlessly moving through this smaller scale hub world, and then you encounter this custom location. So for some of them, we need like custom armors, like we need a custom weapon. Like we do want to do these cannibals who have like bone armor and like bone weapons and stuff like that. So we actually were working on the weapons. We have a few custom armors and clothing. We have a few because I feel like Fallout 4's clothing would be very recognizable if we just like ported over Fallout 4's clothing, and that would kind of take you out of it a little bit. So we're either gonna recolor and remesh a lot of the outfits in Fallout 4, or we're just going to add in like more of our own custom ones. But for right now, we are completely focused on making the base game outfits. Like that's the number one priority first.
Is there anything I've not asked that you think people would want to know about the remake?
They ask a lot about how the world space will be handled. So, and the world space is originally, before I was a lead on the project, we were doing one large open world space that's like Fallout 4 size. And the reason I decided to go for hub worlds instead is for like several reasons. But first reason, it's more accurate to the original Fallout 2. Second reason, it works better with Fallout 2's gameplay. Third reason, it's actually more immersive because the problem if you do a Fallout 4 size world space is Fallout 2 is technically supposed to span really far distances. So if you just walk out of the Arroyo Canyon exit and you can just see San Francisco in the distance like it's Boston, it just doesn't make sense from where Arroyo is supposed to be. So we can make the backgrounds more immersive. It feels real, like San Fran's background will look accurate to what, or as accurate as we can make it to what San Fran in real life and the Fallout universe would look like. Like I said, we're adding a custom locations in between. And the last thing is it reduces scope by a lot. Like we don't have to make a Fallout 4 size world. So it just makes the mod come out that much faster, but you'll still be able to roam around areas and stuff like that and get that, that exploration that you would want.
We talk about level design with Fallout 4. They have dungeons. I think they got like 250 dungeons in there. Are you adding things in like that, like mini dungeons, or?
Yeah, we are. We are adding mini dungeons. We're adding custom exteriors. Like there's one area that's like essentially like I like horror games a lot. A lot of my short films are horror films. So we just showed like in a recent teaser this October a picture of like this like custom enemy we created who has like a claw, and essentially he will be a custom enemy for a custom like horror location that we are creating. It's a horror dungeon where you get trapped inside, and he essentially like he's kind of he feels kind of outlasty. He creates like hallucinations and a little bit of scarecrow from Batman vibes in there, and it's going to be like a whole hallucinatory sequence where it's like horror and your weapons are stripped from you and you have to fight to get them back. So we have a few custom locations like that. We're not going too crazy because I don't want to go into scope creep or anything like that. Our main focus is definitely the main Fallout 2 stuff, but to spice things up, we are adding side locations here and there.
Just touching on other successful projects, Fallout London, Sky Oblivion. Have you taken anything from those as examples, like any type of inspiration? Have you played Fallout London, for example?
I haven't got to play Fallout London yet because because I have the project installed on my system and I'm modding it. It would kind of mess with it a little bit if I like installed it, so I would have to install it on like a separate PC or something. But I've watched a lot of gameplay stuff on it, and I've asked a lot of their team members for help on certain things. So we all like I collaborate with a lot of different teams, like Fallout Cascadia team, Fallout New Vegas team has helped us a ton with different enemies and stuff because Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas share a lot of like similar looking enemies, so they've let us use some of theirs. They've let us use a lot of like vegetation stuff as well. So like we all help each other out. The Vault 13 team that was once working on a Fallout 1 remake, they have recently stopped as of right now. They were partnered with us, so we were sharing assets with them, they were sharing assets with us. What we're trying to do recently, this isn't 100% sure yet because we're going to have to see how it works and how performance goes, but our goal for the NCR region with Shady Sands and stuff is to use the Vault 13 region that they created. So that saves us an entire region that we have to create because theirs is gorgeous and it's exactly how I'd want it to look anyway. So we would just take theirs and we would take their previous existing locations and show how they would have evolved over time. So we're going to take the previous locations they created and make them how they would be in Fallout 2's time.
Vault 13 team giving you that, like the advice and stuff. Like these
Yeah.
are brilliant people, right? Like you
Yeah.
have full-time work, you're doing this on the side. These people, they could have been selfish and said, well, that's our project, we might finish it, you can't have it, but they're open to do it. And a lot of these mods are for free. Can you just sort of explain, like, from your perspective, why do people do this? Why dedicate so much of your time to a project like this?
Yeah, everyone has their own motivations. It's either one of two reasons. Either they really want to build their portfolio and get like, because that is the ultimate portfolio piece. You know what I mean? Like, once this mod releases, I can say, I've led this entire team to create this free mod project. So it is the ultimate portfolio piece, and that is true. Same thing with a lot of 3D artists. They get a lot of like 3D models made for the team, and they can just put it on their art station. We don't like stop them from putting stuff on their art station. And then the other motivation is a lot of them just love those games that much. They just love Fallout 2 or Fallout 1 or whatever game they're working on that much that they are willing to recreate it in this modern engine. It's a really cool thing. It really is to see how passionate a lot of them are.
What's the biggest technical challenge that well, two questions in one. What's the biggest technical challenge that you've run into, things that have made it hard? And secondly, how has it been running a team, like constantly evolving, new people coming in, people spread out, I'm assuming? Like, explain the challenges of the process.
I would say the hardest part is walking the thin line of not making a completely different game than Fallout 2, but also like not keeping it exactly because we could easily just keep it exactly the same. But I will say, especially in this engine, it will be a worse game if we did keep it exactly the same, even if people don't realize that. I'm sure some people will get angry that we've changed anything. There's really no winning when it comes out. I think most of the changes will be for the better. In terms of technical hurdles, I would say this is like a random one, but like we made the Wanamingo models, right? For example, like the Wanamingo creatures, and none of the rigs, like none of the creature skeletons in Fallout 2 match the Wanamingo really, but we kind of had to make it look different, otherwise it wouldn't look like a Wanamingo. One of the biggest challenges for now, I'm sure we'll get it eventually, but is getting that implemented into Fallout. Like we have the model just there, but we're trying to get it in where it doesn't look all like weird and stretched out, and like it actually like functions and the animations look good. There's just not like a lot of like, it's not like they just have a tutorial, like a really good like tutorial on it that's like very clear, and it's like, oh, you just do this. Like I wish it was that easy, but it's not. And then in terms of handling a ton of volunteers, it's good. I love working with a lot of volunteers. The only issue is, obviously, because it's volunteer based and there's no payment involved, people go in and out. So unfortunately, there's times where there's like slow periods where life gets in the way for people. and then you have to go and recruit more people, and some people join, but then they realize like, I don't have the time for this, and then they leave. So there's a lot of that, but overall things are getting done very quickly. So honestly, it's been a good experience, I'd say.
Brilliant. Yeah, I was going to say, as far as the animations go, I mean, Bethesda is still figuring that out. So,
True, true.
is this your first mod that you've worked on?
This is the first major mod I've worked on. I've worked on a lot of smaller mods on my own in the past that I've either like deleted, or I have a few like, like small mods. Yeah, so I've worked with teams on like other types of projects, like I said, like films or comics or other thing. I am working on my own game currently that's outside of this one. Yeah, this is the first like major large mod I worked on. And like I said before, I became the lead. I was on here on the mod for a while as like just a level designer.
Obviously, since you started the project, what have you learned from going through this experience? If you could go back to the beginning and tell your old self, like, to save time, is there anything you've learned from it?
There's a few things. Like, I would have just done the hub worlds from the beginning. I mean, obviously, like, I wasn't the lead, so I wasn't really my call at the time. But that's where I would have done that from the beginning for sure. It just would have sped things. I mean, it's not that big of a deal changing it because we just are transferring a lot of the locations. So because we were working on this massive location, like this massive world space at first, there's a lot of like big locations that just like they fill up space. So all we have to do is like take them and accurately transfer them, and then make it's just kind of tedious to do, but you got to like transfer them and make sure the landscape isn't broken and there's no bugs with it, and like it just takes up some time. But once they're all like successfully fully transferred, it's going to fill up most of the regions because of how large we made them and stuff like that. So I honestly think it'll make it get done faster. So yeah, that's my only like thing that I would say I would change, is like making hub worlds from the start.
What are your hopes for, obviously, the Fallout community? You got diehard Fallout 2 fans, Fallout New Vegas fans, Fallout 4 fans who don't like the original. What do you hope that they take from this? Like, if they, what's a glowing review for you?
I'm hoping that they love it, but well, you never know. You never know. But I'm hoping that they feel like they've gotten an authentic Fallout 2 experience that captures the essence of the original, but actually expands the gameplay in many ways. That's my number one hope, honestly. And I'm hoping it introduces a lot more new fans to Fallout 2. Like, it's probably going to bring an entire new audience of people who have never played it. I get a lot of, and some people know what it is. They just won't play it because they're like, I don't like this combat system, or I don't like that it's turn-based, or it's just too like dated for me. So a lot of people feel that way. So I'm hoping to bring a new audience as well, for sure.
We've seen a shift from Fallout 2, Bethesda take it, Fallout 3, and then they shift to Fallout 4. We've seen, we just spoke about the RPG mechanics sort of being stripped back. What's your thoughts on the direction that Fallout's headed in? Is it something that you get behind? You appreciate the experimentation, or?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Fallout 76, but I like some things about it, and I don't like other things. I like the gameplay that they've added. I'm not the biggest fan of the art direction in all ways. Like, for me, it's a little too bright and colorful, and like for a wasteland. Like, I like the Fallout 3 atmosphere. I wish Fallout 4 had that aesthetic, like where the buildings didn't look like they were from a carnival and they weren't all like rainbow colored. I wish it was just like gray buildings. I know some people don't like that, but to me, I'm like, for a game that's supposed to be in a nuclear apocalypse, I feel like that works. But I also like the aesthetics they created with the vault stuff. I feel like they made the vault stuff really have its own aura that the previous ones didn't have as much, especially with the TV show and stuff, which I actually really like. I think the TV show is pretty awesome in a lot of ways. The newest season coming up looks good. Yeah, so I really like the vault aesthetic they have going on now, which is cool. And they kind of technically brought back the tight vault suits, which is a minor thing, but they technically brought back the tighter vault suits that are in the earlier games, whereas Fallout 3 and New Vegas had like baggy ones, which also look cool, but I prefer, like, I'd say the tighter, more classic looking vault suits. I like the direction it's going, and then there's a few things that I'm like, about, but it is what it is. There's always going to be things you don't like and do like.
What would Fallout 5 be to you if it was perfect? Like what would it be a mix of?
Yeah, Fallout 5. Okay, first thing, I'd have the choice of New Vegas. I'd have the color palette of Fallout 3. I'd have the survival mode in Fallout 4. I'd have Fallout 4. I'd improve Fallout 4's first person mechanics even more, make it even tighter, make the gameplay even more responsive, add more weight to the weapons when you're shooting them and stuff like that, even better recoil, haptic feedback. I don't know where I'd want it to take place. I feel like there's a lot of different areas you could choose. I would want no Starfield, just like procedurally generated quests. Like, make quests actually have, like, meat to them, make them important, make them have a purpose. Don't make them just these mindless, never-ending procedurally generated quests. As much immersion as possible, like NPCs doing various things, which they kind of do anyway. So Bethesda's pretty good at that, actually. And yeah, that's the main thing. All those things. That's what I would do for Fallout 5 for sure.
How can we support your team? Is there any way that people watching this video can support you?
So you can join the Project Arroyo Discord if you type in projectarroyo.com in your browser. You can join that if you're good or you have experience with level design, environment art, 2D art, programming, the creation kit, 3D modeling. We kind of already have a composer, but it never hurts to have another, helps out. Voice acting, we have a recruitment forum on the Discord, or you can look at like one of our showcase videos and we usually have like the recruitment forum down there too. But definitely join the Discord. It helps us spread the word. That's really how you could support the project. Yeah, those are the main ways I would say.
And that brings our interview to an end. I want to thank Damion for taking the time to speak with me and wish the whole team good luck on the upcoming project for the Fallout 2 remake. If you want to support their project, please check out all the links in the description. If you enjoyed this interview, please give the video a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Finally, if you want to see more interviews like this, please check out the interview playlist linked in the description. Thank you for watching. Av out.